Just a spoonful of Jimmy helps the whole world go down.
The Rev, he's a crazy bastard, and he's everyone's best friend in the world. You know, everyone really cares about him.
All right, record this, goddamn, and listen to it. One day, dude, I'm just gonna get off the bus and I'm gonna run into the woods. I'm never gonna come back. And when I come back, I'm gonna be the Knife Master.
Best drummer in the world goes to the Rev.
Look at the size of that fucking duck!
Fucking Jimmy Sullivan.
I'm sorry.
Crazy bastard.
Jimmy Sullivan, aka The Rev. Few names resonate as deeply as his in the world of modern rock and metal music. As a founding member and the original drummer for the band Avenged Sevenfold, he carved out a lasting legacy for himself.
All right!
His drumming style was as original as his personality, and his undeniable flair, both on and off the stage, earned himself the name The Rev. He's an iconic figure in the metal community, and his music continues to inspire drummers around the world. Join us as we dive into the genius of Jimmy The Rev Sullivan. The Rev's musical career began early. At only 5 years old, his parents urged him to take both piano and drum lessons. And although he resisted at first, he finally signed up for lessons at the age of 10. He first started playing on a toy drum set from Sears, but a year later he got his own kit and he started listening to all kinds of different music. About his early drumming years, he wrote, "The music I was listening to was metal, so I started transcribing it. I started getting into faster stuff, first Pantera, then Slayer, classics like that. Then I started getting into prog, Dream Theater and Rush. Then I started into funk, like Dave Weckl and Terry Bozzio. I tried to pick up as many things as I could from all those influences."
Growing up, I mean, Terry is one of my drumming heroes. So like once I heard Jimmy do that, I'm like,
it's like, there it is.
There it is. Good. I'm glad, you know.
Do you know if Jimmy was a Bozzio fan?
He was a Zappa fan.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure Bozzio was definitely one of his dudes.
From there, he went on to join a percussion ensemble at Harbor College in LA, where he developed a solid rudimental foundation. Check out this clip of 13-year-old Jimmy performing one of his first original pieces. You can already see his unique style and influences on display.
He wrote this piece for us.
Up until the age of 16, the Rev further branched out and developed his signature style. He was involved in several projects during high school, including a ska punk band called Suburban Legends in the late 90s. But it wasn't until he joined up with childhood friends M. Shadows and Zachy Vengeance to form Avenged Sevenfold that he found his musical home.
When we decided in high school that we were going to start a band, we went to Jimmy and we're like, "Hey, dude, do you want to be in this band?" And he's just like, he knew he was too good to be in the band because me and Zach both kind of sucked, you know, and we were just trying to write these songs, screaming over them, and he's like, "I guess I will because we're friends. I'll just play in it because we're friends."
If there's a rumor going around that I thought I was too good to be in this band, it wasn't this band. Matt was in a band called Successful Failure, and that I was originally like slotted to play drums for that, but that didn't work out.
As all of the band members adopted stage names, the moniker The Reverend Tholomew Plague, aka The Rev, was born.
Actually, I did have the name The Rev. There's a longer version of it, which lots of people know.
He wanted to be known as the Reverend Tholomew Plague, and at this point, you know, he was wearing a kimono everywhere he went, and his hair was about this big. And I remember the Rev literally running in like a bathrobe. He had like this kimono, like this bright yellow and orange fluorescent kimono.
His drumming style is really one of a kind. He seamlessly blended elements of heavy metal, punk, and progressive rock, crafting a sound that was both powerful and intricate. Listen to this bridge section from 2005's Backcountry to see what I mean. Varied rudiment-based fills, furious double bass chops, thrashy groove-based beats, and even a bouncy pop groove at the end, this section has it all. The Rev used single strokes to great effect, orchestrating them around his kit in lots of different ways. He would also throw in drags to add a dynamic layer, like in the intro section of Chapter 4. His explosive drumming became the driving force behind many of the band's songs during this era. Just listen to the relentless intro from Burn It Down. He was also a huge fan of intricate hand-to-foot combos. Some great examples of these are in the bridge section of Unbound, the intro from Reminiscence, and this fill from Blinded in Chains that sounds a little bit like Hot for Teacher by Van Halen. He also had a way of using every part of his massive drum kit, accenting shots in lots of unique ways, like in the verse section from Sidewinder. And this bridge section, also from Reminiscence, where he pulls off an intricate ride bell pattern while playing a two-handed hi-hat groove at a fast tempo. Punk music had a huge influence on the Rev's sense of groove. He would throw skank beats into sections that most metal drummers would approach with more of a straightforward, gridded feel, but the Rev played them a little bit different.
It's not exactly how you would play, but I know he was very influenced by you, especially from the punk thing, so a lot of metal upbeat stuff would sound like instead of playing a metal part for this, this is punk.
This is punk.
To me, it just adds so much, and
better.
it's got feel.
Yep.
You know, like it moves. It's bubbly. It's bouncy. It's what we love about punk rock. And that's the foundation.
Yeah.
That groove.
The Rev was an expert at blending genres. The track Almost Easy is a great example where you can hear him playing what sounds like a Latin-inspired rhythm in the verse. Only to hold down a basic 4-on-the-floor groove before flying into his trademark double ride thing, which he did so effortlessly.
This is such a Jimmy thing, dude. It's a madman.
When asked about how he came up with the part, the Rev said, "I call it the double ride thing, because no one does it. It's very hard to keep yourself on the bells without being able to look. You can't look at two places at the same time. My right hand naturally can find the ride on its own, so I have to look at the bell on the left. And you also have to bring it over to hit the snare. So it gets a bit hard, and that's when you start looking like a f***ing octopus weirdo. It's awesome." This move in particular had a lasting impact on current Avenged Sevenfold drummer Brooks Wackerman. When I asked him about Jimmy's playing, he said this.
Yeah, I never knew about the double ride until I saw Jimmy execute the double rides. So that, whenever I'm doing double rides, it's a homage to him.
But it wasn't just to be flashy. The part fits the music perfectly and elevates the verse.
Best feel ever.
The fan favorite track, Brompton Cocktail, is another great example of how the Rev would pull from other genres, this time hip hop.
Brompton Cocktail I kind of had the idea for, it's kind of a hip-hop-ish type of really heavy, subtle groove parts like in the verse.
Let's take a closer look at the verse. Notice how he takes a rudimental approach playing doubles on the hi-hat. A similar groove-based approach can be heard in the track Scream. This time he's playing 16th notes on the hi-hat while playing Bonham-inspired notes on the kick drum. The Rev also knew how important the visual component in live shows were, citing Tommy Lee from Motley Crue as a massive influence on his showmanship. You'd often see him twirling his drumsticks, doing crossovers, and flailing his arms as he crashed his cymbals while playing live. The Rev was a rare drummer who could combine power, brains, finesse, and good old-fashioned metal double bass drumming. His footwork was marked by precision, endurance, and some serious speed. In the verse of Critical Acclaim, he plays furious 16th notes on his feet while maintaining a 6/4 feel, gradually dialing up the intensity to match the guitars. The Rev moves seamlessly from one double bass pattern to the next, only to transition to a simple backbeat groove, showing remarkable restraint. In the intro of Almost Easy, he adds in bursts of 16th notes to elevate an otherwise pretty straightforward groove. The 2005 album City of Evil features some of the Rev's most iconic double bass parts. The way he incorporates the double bass in the intro of Blinded in Chains to support the pattern he plays with his hands is a great example. When asked about his double bass approach, the Rev said, "I just always think it's really powerful when you're doing any particular hand fill if you throw the double bass constantly under it. It just beefs up the power of it. And I like to go back and forth between my cymbals and my hands while keeping the double bass patterns underneath it, and attaching cymbals, a splash or a ride to the double kick." The rest of the song Blinded in Chains features some seriously demanding double bass drumming, further showcasing the Rev's footwork at this speed. He was also skilled in coming up with syncopated double bass patterns, complementing his bandmates' guitar riffs. A similar syncopated double bass pattern can also be heard in the verse section from Unholy Confessions, this time in groups of 5. This is how the Rev played it live, and then I'll play what's on the record. Later in the same track, he cycles through a flurry of 16th notes, 16th note triplets, and 8th notes to drive the momentum of the song. The end section of the track also features a tasty double bass pattern, combining a bunch of different ideas you've heard earlier in the song.
Jimmy wrote a really cool double kick part. I'll do that album tempo because live we really make it sluggish.
In Trashed and Scattered, you can also see the Rev pulling off some interesting double bass parts, from furious 16th notes and hand-to-foot combos at a tempo of 175 BPM, to another trademark syncopated double bass pattern complementing the guitar riffs. Now, we can't talk about the Rev's double bass chops without mentioning Beast in the Harlot, which is a true anthem and rite of passage for any aspiring double bass drummer.
Ferocious
double bass.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to add, I mean, I always loved the placement of the fills and the combinations that he used. It's just brilliant how it all connects. And did that intro evolve into Jimmy incorporating those fills later on? I mean, was it just the accents at the beginning?
Yeah,
or?
I remember him formulating all those things prior to that and coming in with a bunch of different crazy fills in between. I know we wanted to have this big metal style orchestration.
Yeah.
You know?
From his constant 16th notes on the feet in the verse, to one of the most ferocious drum solos of the era. It's worth diving into this solo because it features many of the Rev's signature moves while showcasing his incredibly precise footwork. He's playing quarter note triplets on his hands against a 16th note double kick pattern before launching into some fast hand-to-foot combos.
I just love how it builds. It makes a lot of sense.
I don't even get that.
Yeah. So what he's doing after those triplets at the beginning is he's playing combinations of 4. So
those are 4 on his feet too?
Which at that tempo is really hard to articulate. First time I saw you guys on the Warped Tour, I was sitting right behind Jimmy, and I noticed just how precise his feet were.
Yeah.
I mean, his hands too, obviously, but if you're gonna pull something off like that, you just have to think articulation and separation, and you know, it's not gonna sound like that if
yeah, you have to start playing all that shit slowly, you know? It has to start, you can't just fake it, you know?
And to get your left foot equally as rad.
He worked his ass off on
right
that.
Foot, you know? I mean, you have to be conscious of just keeping an evenness between the feet, which he executed flawlessly.
The Rev also liked to play different patterns and accents with his hands while maintaining intensity with double bass. This verse off Sidewinder is a great example where he manages to add in 30-second notes on his feet. The Rev wrote a similar part for the 2010 song Nightmare, cycling through 32nd and 16th note runs with his feet. And you can check out the demo he recorded on an electronic drum kit. Tragically, the Rev passed away before the band stepped into the studio. But the album was in good hands with one of his drumming heroes, Mike Portnoy, stepping in.
They called me up and they were like, you know, you were one of his favorite drummers, you're one of his heroes, so we'd be honored if you would do it. And I was like, I'd be honored to do it myself. So the Rev, all these demos, I have the whole album in demo form, and it's him playing on an electronic kit.
Really?
So it's no real drums. And they're just skeleton versions. So I ended up having to take the basic grooves and then embellishing them, but you'll hear.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of these demos is the Rev singing the vocal melodies. Single guitar, no harmony.
Yeah.
That E-kit sound.
That's an E-kit.
That's the Rev singing there.
Yeah.
That's great.
So the patterns are there.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, to be called upon to do this was really quite an honor, and I took it very seriously. I wanted to make sure that I was representing everything he was intending on doing. And they gave me the demos for all the songs on the album. They had already demoed everything with the Rev playing on an electronic kit. The framework was there. I mean, basically all of the grooves and beats were there. Spent a lot of time really learning exactly what he was intending on doing. And we spent a lot of time really nailing it and making sure that his vision, his drum vision, was brought to life. And that was pretty much my job for this session.
The fact that the Rev could pull off these challenging double bass parts so precisely is a testament to both his talent and dedication. It's no wonder countless double bass masters include his name when talking about the all-time greats. But this is only one of the many reasons why his drumming is so legendary.
That was cool, dude.
Maybe the one thing that the Rev doesn't get enough credit for is his creative and versatile musicianship. Besides drums, he also laid down lead vocals on numerous Avenged Sevenfold tracks. Take the chorus section off Critical Acclaim. Or this part from Crossroads, which is a B-side from their self-titled album. He would also support lead singer M. Shadows with backup vocals like in Seize the Day. Or this epic chorus from Afterlife. And probably one of my favorite examples of the Rev's vocals is from A Little Piece of Heaven.
And he'd come in and just nail shit. That's not fucking auto-tune. You can't fucking auto-tune that. Or tune it or whatever. It's just fucking absolute madness. That fucking dude.
With his vocal abilities, the Rev is part of an elite circle of singing drummers that are able to pull off vocal runs and demanding drum parts simultaneously. Many people may not know that the Rev was also a skilled pianist, and you can hear some of his playing on the song I Won't See You Tonight, Part 1. As well as the intro from Warmness of the Soul off their first album, Sounding the Seventh Trumpet. But the Rev was also an integral part of Avenged Sevenfold's songwriting process. As a real multi-instrumentalist, he not only came up with the iconic drum parts, but he also wrote melodies and arrangements for entire tracks. He was largely responsible for many of the band's biggest hits, like Almost Easy, Critical Acclaim, Bat Country, and fan favorite, Afterlife.
Just a spoonful of Jimmy helps the whole world go down the truth.
He came one day and said, I have a song for you guys. Little did we know he had this full song that he'd been, hoarded away in his house writing, and we heard it and we just flipped out. He just really stepped up to the plate and typical The Rev fashion, the chorus is extremely catchy. It has a pop element, but in a more like somber tone.
Let's take a closer look at the chorus groove here. Although relatively simple, it binds together the various elements in the track, adding that catchy anthemic quality. But the Rev could also make more complex phrases and odd time signatures sound groovy. Check out this awesome, almost djenty syncopated double bass groove from the verse of I Won't See You Tonight Part 2, which is in 7. Or the intro off Beast and the Harlot, which is in 9, setting the stage for the track with high-intensity drum fills. The Rev loved to include drum breaks or mini drum solos in many of Avenged Sevenfold's songs. This solo from Darkness Surrounding off their first record is a great example of the Rev's creativity and unconventional approach. And what's crazy is that despite having never recorded to a click track before, the Rev recorded all the drums for their first album in one take.
The Rev, to him, to his credit, he was like, well, I know all these songs, I'm just gonna play them one time. And so we start recording, like, that's not normal, right? Like, you wanna get in there and get it perfect and this and that, but he was such a great drummer, it didn't really matter at that time. And he played like 6 songs and we're like, I mean, we have no comments. So we just kept going. Then by the end of it, he's like, I'm gonna do this whole record in one take. I'm gonna make sure I don't have to go back and redo anything.
In 2001, the Rev and Sinister Gates formed a side project called Pinkly Smooth. This experimental band was the perfect playground for the Rev, as he was featured on drums, piano, and lead vocals. And there's some real gems on their one and only album. One in particular is this wild King Crimson-inspired groove from the song Mesmer. Danny Elfman's music was a huge influence on the Rev's musicality. In this track, McFly, you can hear the Rev developing a more theatrical, almost circus-like approach.
Why is this happening to me? I've been black and tired. My family ties are much too strong, and there's a wolf inside.
And over time, this theatrical flair also made its way into Avenged Sevenfold tracks. It's hard to think of a better example than 2007's A Little Piece of Heaven, which he wrote in its entirety, showcasing his entire skill set.
We were more than friends before the story ends.
This 8-minute track is full of standout moments. From the double bass parts thundering along with the orchestra, to this anthemic verse section,
At least for the most part.
through to this section featuring the Rev's maniacal laughter in the background. Over time, the Rev took on more and more songwriting duties in the band. Even though he unfortunately wasn't able to record any drums for their 5th album, Nightmare, every song on the album has writing contributions from the Rev, with the band stating that over 60% of the album was written by him, including all of the drum parts. The verse of Fiction showcases his complete musicianship. It features his vocals that were salvaged from a scratch vocal demo, a haunting piano line, and tasteful double bass bursts.
Not that I can, or that I want. Let it burn under my skin. Let it burn. Not that I can, or that I want. Let it burn under my skin.
From aggressive and thunderous beats to melodic and unconventional compositions, the Rev could pull from a wide range of ability and influences. He supported, enhanced, and accentuated the music in creative and unusual ways, crafting a sound that was uniquely his own that influenced drummers around the world.
You know, freak of nature. You know, one of these people who you look at him, there's really nobody like him. I mean, he sits there and he starts getting ready for the show, and all of a sudden he goes out there and he plays a show, and you sit there and it's like, human beings can't do that.
Unfortunately, the Rev is no longer with us, passing away in 2009 at the young age of 28. But his impact in the rock and metal world is undeniable. He inspired drummers to explore new ideas and pull from genres outside of rock to enhance their style and sound. In many ways, he was a trailblazer and definitely a favorite among fellow drummers.
I'm pulling for Jimmy the Rev Sullivan, who's no longer with us, played in Avenged Sevenfold, and he was just an amazing person and an incredibly talented drummer that brought a whole lot of new energy and fire to playing drums, and God bless you, Jimmy, we miss you.
Seeing something that shocking and him being that young was just like, it's
and
something
talented,
and talented,
important to the band,
and just like your best friend. Like, it's crazy. Like, you don't get to call that guy anymore, and he's at your house all the time. So we were gonna put it all on hold, and then I think, as humans do, what we're so good at is kind of picking ourselves back up and moving forward. It's one thing we have to do. I mean, there's no other choice. And at some point, you know, within the months, we started getting ideas of how we could finish the record, because we felt it was going to be like, man, we wrote this record with him. It's going to really be terrible if we don't get to finish it.
So it was a very emotional record to make. You know, those guys were still very, very much in mourning still. But they wanted to make this record because the Rev had written the whole thing with them and demoed the whole thing with them. So, you know, it was unfinished business, and they really wanted to do it for him.
Since Jimmy's passing, one of the songs on the album, called So Far Away, has since been dedicated to him. But his legacy goes beyond drumming. Every day was an adventure with the Rev.
He's just always insane, you know, if you ever hang out with him in a close level, he's just always kind of out there, and he'll always make you laugh, you know. There's never a dull moment with the Rev. He's just running around.
His personality always shone through, leaving us with countless golden clips that will be rewatched forever.
Look at the size of that fucking duck! Whoa. Look at that duck! Jesus Christ! He's not afraid at all! He's bigger than you. At all. He's not afraid at all!
I'm very jealous right now because I think I should be marrying both of you. Individually, because that's how much I love both of you. I'm happy, but it's kind of a bum out at the same time.
I'm just, dude.
The fact that countless drum covers honoring the Rev's drumming continue to be posted on social media by drummers from around the world is a testament to his iconic drum parts. The Rev's drum kit was also iconic. He rocked a massive drum kit with 3 kick drums and tons of toms and cymbals, adding the third one simply because he thought it looked cool. His kit was on display at the Hard Rock Hotel in Vegas for many years. But above all, the Rev was a great friend to the people closest to him.
He's everyone's best friend in the world. You know, everyone really cares about him. He's just one of those people that everyone, like, you know, like whenever there's a wedding, he's always the best man. Like, from all our friends, everyone's like, oh, Jimmy, you know, he's people's godfathers. To people's kids. He's just always like everyone's best friend.
The Rev is definitely, you know, my best friend. We grew up together and met him in 8th grade. He was pretty much the class clown, going crazy, messing with everybody, and we actually got in a fight. We were standing in line in a wood shop and he was doing something and I hit him or something like that. I forget exactly what happened, but we got sent outside. It came about that we both played music, and we went back to my house later on that day and started jamming, and I couldn't believe what an incredible musician he was.
The Rev is out of his mind in the most wonderful way. Wild, crazy, funny, absolutely amazingly funny. Seriously a genius. Like, very, very smart guy. He's extremely musically talented, obviously. It's not that he can just play drums, he can write music, he can sing, a phenomenal voice.
It's fair to say that the Rev lived hard and fast. At the end of the day, he just wanted to make music and have a good time with his best friends. He lived his dream, and he'll always be remembered for it.
People in this band are my best friends on the planet. Some I've known longer than others, and some truly are my heart and soul. Just went through 10 million different bands until landed in this one. That's the day where I consider pretty much my biggest dream in life had come true at that point. Never dreamed about money, never wanted shit, but I don't feel like going into everyone individually. They know how I feel about them. They're best friends anyone could ask for. We're like family now, and it's kind of us against the world. And there's always shit that goes on the road, shit that goes on just like with any family. We get in altercations or there's problems or whatever, but they're all fleeting. Bottom line, we love each other, that's it.
All right, there you have it, the genius of Jimmy the Rev Sullivan. Hopefully you enjoyed this deep dive into his drumming and learned something new along the way. Clearly the Rev loved to play the drums, and his personality and flair were infectious. Gone too soon, but never forgotten, the Rev definitely left his mark on music history. Now, before you go, make sure you leave a comment below and let me know one thing that you've learned from listening to the Rev. Also, stay tuned for the next episode in the Genius Of series, which is about the jazz rock pioneer Mitch Mitchell, who played drums with Jimi Hendrix. And lastly, inside of Drumeo, we have tons of Avenged Sevenfold songs with full note-for-note transcriptions and drumless tracks, so you can dive deeper into the Rev's drumming and learn all of these parts for yourself. There's a link down below, drumeo.com/trial, and you can try Drumeo out for 7 days for free. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.